For coming to today's community forum with our distinguished 21st district delegations. And I know it's a working day, and you took the time from your family to come here. And it could be outside, any place, enjoying the evening, but you decided to come here. That tells how committed you are. And thank you for taking the time to come. Appreciate that. So we are so honored to have our distinguished guests from the 21st delegations, and before we get into the actual programs, I'd like to thank our staff first for putting this event together. Can we all give them a round of applause? Yes, that Laura and Michelle and Kenny, you guys did a fantastic job. Thank you. A few housekeeping things. If you have parked in the garage, you do not need to pay. If you get a fine, let us know. Your council members will take care of that. And the restrooms are across the hallway, this side, and also in the downstairs. So I'm sure Yvette can do anything. Before we do the actual introduction program, let me tell you how it works. This will be a 2 hours program, and it will end hopefully at 8 o'clock. And the first half of the program will be on this side, meaning we'll be recognizing our Madam Speaker for her accomplishment. Oh my goodness! It is such an honor. It is such an honor to have her, and she's so busy, and we'll be hearing a lot from her in a minute. And then we'll also hear from the entire 21st delegation, starting with our senator, and who is also another College Parker, about the session that just ended. And they did quite a few good things, great things, and they will be talking about that. And in the next half, is all ears. So you'll be asking questions, all the tough questions you may have. That will be answered by 21st delegations. If there is anything related to College Park, and I am surrounded by my fantastic city council colleagues, and they will help me answering those questions. So before we do the formal recognition with a proclamation, and thank you, my city council colleagues. We actually made a proclamation at last night's city council meeting, honoring our Madam Speaker, and we'll be reading that, and we'll be handing this over. But before we do that, we have a fun activity, fun exercise, and that is, it's kind of people call it fireside chat. So it is a little bit of interview with our Madam Speaker, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. You ready?
As ready as I can be.
Thank you.
And good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you. So honored to have you, among us. And I was so happy, and I was so honored at your inaugurations, and I was privileged to be there. And I heard you saying so many inspiring stories, and that was really moving, and some of them are related to what I have grown up with, because both of us are immigrants. We were not born in this country. And you were telling stories like you call yourself as an island girl, right?
Yes.
In Dominican Republic, and you grew up there. Actually came at very early age, and went to New York and came to College Park. And that's a fascinating stories, and there's so many things he told us. And then you went to a state house as a delegate. So tell us, and then speaker, tell us that journey a little bit, and what inspired you to be a public servant.
Well, thank you so much for the honor and for having me. You know, I love College Park, right? You're not supposed to have favorite children, but this is where I sleep. Thank you. And I have lived in College Park since 2001. And I lived in Hyattsville prior to that, almost 10 years. So I've been in the area for more than 30-something years. So I love this place. I was born in the Dominican Republic. How many of you have been to the Dominican Republic? It's a beautiful place. I'm very biased. And I grew up with my grandparents. My mom and my dad were working often, and they actually traveled, for work. And we would stay with my grandparents. My grandparents had 11 kids, and we lived in a tiny little wooden house that had a metal roof. The metal roof had holes. So the little tiny house had a cement floor, and when it would rain, we would quickly run to get pots and pans to, put it under the holes so they would capture the raindrops. My toilet paper was a latrine outside the house, which is just a hole. My toilet paper was dry corn husk and newspaper. And when you grow up that way, there's just something about the drive inside of you. And also as a public health person, there's no one can tell me about those social determinants of health, right? Because I know what it's like not to have food. When we would go to school and we had to walk to the house, it took us over an hour at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which was very hot. In addition to that, when we would arrive to the house, there was no food, and we were hungry. So that is how I grew up. My parents, came to the U.S. like any immigrant in looking for opportunities and to help their family members. My dad left my mom, so my mom was a single parent in New York, and we grew up, on social services and my mom struggled and worked many different jobs. And I knew that I wanted to do better than the way I grew up. I wanted opportunities as well. So when people ask, where do you get your drive? It's from that experience of growing up so poor and being an immigrant and coming here and taking advantage of all the opportunities, right? So that I can do better for my family. And that is where I come from, and I don't forget it, right? You need to remember where you come from, because where you come from keeps you grounded, but it also directs your life and your purpose and your values.
So inspiring and fascinating stories. The other story you were telling me, and I had the honor to be at one of your events with Councilmember Ranker at Annapolis, right, in one of the District 21st event, and I believe 2 months ago, and I was talking to you about the idea of bringing you to College Park during this event exactly, and you're telling you're so busy at that time. You're telling me that there are days go by you do not come to College Park and sleep in College Park, and you need to stay in the hotel because you're so busy and prepare for the session, and that is fantastic. That is I know for your family it's not a good thing, but they miss you. But it's a good thing for the community you represent.
I'm
Tell us
7 days a week.
Tell us that story. How the new life you have now as Madam Speaker.
Well, during session, I don't think I came home 3 times in the 90 days, and I stay at the hotel because I was averaging about 17 meetings a day.
Wow.
20-minute meetings. Everyone wanted to meet with me. Everyone wanted to have a meeting, tell me about their organization, what their needs are. And not only did I have those meetings, I was on the floor every day and, also managing the committees. In addition to floor, I had caucus. I had to travel to different events. And my days will start probably around 7, 8, and I will work all the way to 2, 3 in the morning.
Wow.
It's a lot of work. I have 141 members, including myself. So I have to take care of my members and make sure that everything runs well. Make sure that everything runs well. Making sure I take care of my members, be a good team player with my colleagues, take your calls when you call, right? Answer the emails as well. Manage the staff with my chief of staff. So session ended, it was 90 days, but it's the same. I am out 7 days a week and I'm doing a lot of keynote speeches. I just did one today. I am in Washington County. Next weekend, this coming weekend, I'm in Chestertown. I am really driving and learning about Maryland. It's you're on the whole time. But I am so blessed that someone like me, I am the poster child why an education is important. That I can come from that humble beginning and be where I am. It shows that when you pour into children, right, that are so young. I remember being on the council here and bringing my 5 and 6 year old when I was on the council as well, and we have poured into them, and people pour into me, and it just makes a difference. It doesn't stop.
Certainly.
Plus, they know that's just how I am. So I'm not going to do anything halfway. It just, I didn't come to warm the seat, right? I came to make a difference, and it's not about being the first Afro-Latina in this job. It's about not being the last, opening those doors for people to come through, because we have to work twice as hard, right? The expectations are higher. They really are.
Certainly. And I follow you on the Facebook, on social media, and I see you posting the different events in the morning, lunchtime, in the evening. I don't know, how can you do that? Fantastic. The house of the Maryland House that you present is an interesting place because you have members from both parties. It's not like College Park. We're non-partisan. We don't do business on political lines, and you need to deal with both parties, and it is a difficult job. We understand from our side to work with them and bringing something into consensus. And one quote I can remember, and I used to hear that when we used to be city council member, and also when you went to the House, I think you made a couple of times the same comment, same quote, that you can probably catch more flies using honey than vinegar.
That's right.
Am I correct?
And I would say that here too. It is.
And that really means how really hard you actually worked in bringing the two parties together and getting things done. So tell us a little bit about that. How can you actually make that happen?
You know what? With everything that's happening today at the federal level, regardless of what party you belong to, right? This is nonpartisan. One thing that we're lacking is empathy and respect. And people are so nasty on social media. They will tell you off and make stuff up. They don't tell the truth. People read it, they believe it. They don't even go to a good, source, reputable source. And we are so divided right now in this country. And I decided that I'm not going to be that way. That we are going to run a house that is civil, and it starts with me. And I demand respect and civility. And how do I do that? By listening to people, right? You're given 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means that you listen a little more than you speak. And it took me a long time to get there, trust me, especially as a lawyer. And I'm getting there. But you have to listen and realize that I have 141 members. There's 23 counties in Baltimore City, 24 jurisdictions, 47 different districts in Maryland, 6.5 million people. The fact that people represent different districts, and they might not reflect my values, but they still deserve to be heard, and they still deserve respect. And we can debate the policy all we want, And agree or disagree, but we should give respect.
So-
And I ask for that, and I demand that. You know, it's important. I used to tell my kids when they were that little, look, you don't need to like me. I need you to respect me. And they will say, oh, Mom, but I love you. I don't want to be loved. I want to be respected, because people love you and they disrespect you. And I think that that's important. And
So-
for me, that is something that I demand every day.
Yeah. And I read so many stories, what he had actually done as a speaker in getting things done, navigating very difficult job, through
It's
both
141
parties.
different people.
There are different views, and
Yes.
especially the very polarizing climate we live in.
Yeah.
It's very challenging, and
It
they've
is.
done a good job. So tell us one or two major wins, accomplishments you are very proud of in the last session.
Yeah, this session, we did a lot. One of them is basically addressing the rising utility cost, right? And giving people relief, ratepayers. I know that a lot of you are getting your bills, and you can see that. And we passed a bill that is not just ceremonial. I insisted on that. It's a bill that actually has immediate relief, medium relief, and long-term relief, that you're going to save at least, but a lot more than that, $150 in annual saving and electricity savings. We also passed legislation that says that the ratepayers are not going to pay the bonuses, compensation of top wage earners, right? And we also said that the data centers are going to have to pay for their own electricity as well,
Good.
which is so important. So it's an amazing bill, and I'm very proud of that bill. But I'm also proud of how we have responded to the federal government. And we passed a bill that basically says that you cannot wear masks as a law enforcement agent in Maryland. And we also passed a bill that says that we will not allow those 287G contract programs where the federal government comes and they deputize local law enforcement to other jails and to enforce immigration laws, which cause distrust in the community as well. I mean, we did a lot. It was an amazing session of great accomplishments, truly.
Thank you. It's a lot. So one final question I have, and this is very local, is College Park question. And that is, you are not a stranger. You are one of our own. You are College Parker,
Yeah.
right? You served the community since, I think, from 2003 to 2007, am I
2006.
correct?
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
for 2 terms. And you have seen a lot. Even after that, you have seen how College Park has evolved over the years. And you fought for us. You're a good fighter for Route 1 reconstruction.
I did.
You did a rally, and
Yeah.
that people remember that. So tell us the story, how College Park has changed over the years since your time on the council in 2003. I know during that time we hear some not so good stories, like the 2 sides of Route 1 on the university side and the longtime residential neighborhood
Yeah.
side at the city hall. They didn't talk much, but now things have changed. I think you have seen that. So tell us about that, and what kind of ideas you might have for us that we think we should be working on.
Yeah, I remember when I was on the council in 2003, this right here was a concept. I remember voting on it, as well. The Route 1 didn't look like it did. And I remember organizing the community and protesting and walking from downtown all the way to where the IHOP is as well. Going to the SHA, the State Highways Administration, and protesting as well, demanding that the university respect us because it was them and us. And we would say, look, you have to be part of the community. We know we live here. The students are here for a certain period of time, but this is our biggest investments, our homes. Like, we live here. And to see the change where you are now, it's really so impressive. And to see a lot of these projects that we started, to see them actually being completed, is really beautiful. It feels like a nice town, right? That is walkable, that is livable. That was our vision back then, and you have become that. It's really wonderful to see, and to see the Discovery District, and we are contributing, the state bringing money for that. For Quantum, we brought like $20 million, and actually more than that. And working with the university and helping them with a lot of their projects as well. And the city, it's just beautiful. I see us as a city that is vibrant, that is going to be in another year and a half the Purple Line, which is beautiful to see, when that was just a discussion. And I remember where we had to sit with the president of the university at that time and threaten him. we would not name him. We threatened him with the budget to say either you come on board or we're going to have to send you a little message, right? Because this is important for our city, to get rid of some of that traffic on Route 1 instead of pushing this bypass that they wanted to build. Why don't you put that money into Route 1 and develop it? And I can tell you in a very humble way that the 21st District, starting with Jim, Ben, who shares the Appropriations Committee, and Mary, who was on the Environment and Transportation Committee and helped tremendously, that it helps to have people that live here to help you bring money for Route 1 and to advocate for it. And I see you as, innovators and creators, and I am so excited. This is very different to come here. Like today, I came a little early, and I treated myself to early dinner down here. I went to the restaurant, and it was so nice to sit there, right? Like, we have choices. We don't have to go outside Prince George's County. Like, we have it here in College Park, and it's really beautiful to see. You guys are doing a great job. I'm very proud to live here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's do ourselves a big round of applause. It is not one person or two persons, it is the community.
It takes a village.
It's a village, exactly. And
Yeah.
it is. We have a wonderful staff and wonderful council members who are doing a fantastic job in making this happen. So now is the fun part and very important part. And what we'll be doing, we'll be giving this. Actually, first we'll be reading this proclamation that our city council made last night's meeting.
Thank you.
And we'll take you over there. All of us will be going there, and we'll do in a team, meaning we'll be reading the entire proclamation, one paragraph by one council members.
I love it.
Yes.
Thank you for the honor.
And then we'll have also a proclamation in Spanish. And I was thinking if I have the privilege to ask one of our residents, Arlis Perez, to read that. Will it be okay? Thank you. All right, let's go to the podium, and then we'll read the English proclamation first. Yes, thanks. All right, so I will. Okay. Yes, please. Come. Yeah, we are a group. Yes, please. We are together. We are a team. So we are doing English. Then I will ask you Spanish. So I will start with the first one, and I'll end with the last one. And this is a proclamation, City of College Park, Maryland. Proclamation honoring Madam Speaker Jocelyn Pena-Melnick, and it reads as follows. Whereas Jocelyn Pena-Melnick has dedicated her career to public service with unwavering commitment, integrity, and compassion for the residents of the state of Maryland, and
whereas Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick faithfully served the residents of the city of College Park as a member of the College Park City Council, demonstrating a strong commitment to community engagement, responsive leadership, and initiatives that improve the quality of life for residents, and
Whereas Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick has faithfully represented the residents of Prince George's County and the state of Maryland in the Maryland General Assembly, serving as a strong advocate for working families, health care access, education, public safety, equity, and economic opportunity, and that's
Whereas throughout her distinguished tenure, Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick has demonstrated exceptional leadership through her service as chair. Sorry, a little distracting there. Her leadership through her service as chair of the House Health and Government Operations Committee, working tirelessly to improve healthcare systems, strengthen public policy, and advance legislation that positively impacts communities across Maryland. And
whereas Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick made history by becoming the first Afro-Latina to serve as Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates, marking a groundbreaking achievement that reflects the progress, diversity, and strength of leadership within the state of Maryland. And
as an immigrant, attorney, and community leader, Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick's journey reflects perseverance, determination, and a steadfast belief in the promise of public service and civic engagement. And
You put this together last night? I'm impressed.
really on the fly.
Wow.
Whereas Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick has continuously championed initiatives that uplift underserved communities, expand access to critical resources, and ensure that all residents have a voice in government. And
whereas her dedication to collaboration, mentorship, and service has inspired countless individuals throughout Prince George's County and beyond, leaving a lasting impact on local and state governance. And
whereas the City of College Park recognizes and celebrates Madam Speaker Pena-Melnick outstanding contributions to the residents of Maryland and her continued commitment to building strong, healthier, and more inclusive communities.
And, okay, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland, do hereby recognize and honor Madam Speaker Jocelyn Pena-Melnick for her exemplary leadership, historic achievements, dedicated public service, and enduring commitment to the residents of the City of College Park, Prince George's County, and the state of Maryland. We extend our sincere appreciation and best wishes for continued success in all future endeavors. Proclaimed this 12th day of May 2026, Fazlul Kabir Mayor, City of College Park. So that is the proclamation. Let's give a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
So let's take a group photo as we give it to. Let's come together.
How about we go in front of the field?
You know, go.
Yeah.
We're all just grouped up in the back.
Yeah. Ready? Yeah. Thank you
Did-
so much.
okay.
You want to read it in Spanish?
In Spanish. Let's come.
Let me try.
Ciudad de College Park, Maryland, proclamación en honor a la presidenta de la Cámara de Delegados de Maryland, Jocelyn Pena-Melnick. Por cuanto Jocelyn Pena-Melnick ha dedicado su carrera al servicio público con un compromiso inquebrantable, integridad y compasión por los residentes del estado de Maryland. Y por cuanto la presidenta Pena-Melnick sirvió fielmente a los residentes de la ciudad de College Park como miembro del Consejo Municipal de College Park, demostrando un firme compromiso con la participación comunitaria, un liderazgo receptivo, iniciativas que mejoraron la calidad de vida de los residentes, y por cuanto la presidenta Pena-Melnick ha representado fielmente a los residentes del condado de Prince George y del estado de Maryland en la Asamblea General de Maryland, sirviendo como una firme defensora de las familias trabajadoras, el acceso a la atención médica, la educación, la seguridad pública, la equidad y las oportunidades económicas, y por cuanto a lo largo de su distinguida trayectoria, la presidenta Peña Melnick ha demostrado un liderazgo excepcional a través de su servicio como presidenta del Comité de Salud y Operaciones Gubernamentales. Excepcional a través de su servicio como presidenta del Comité de Salud y Operaciones Gubernamentales de la Cámara de Delegados, trabajando incansablemente para mejorar los sistemas de salud, fortalecer las políticas públicas y promover legislación que impacta positivamente a las comunidades en todo Maryland. Y por cuanto la presidenta Peña Melnick hizo historia al convertirse en la primera afro-latina en servir como presidenta de la Cámara de los Delegados de Maryland, marcando un logro trascendental que refleja el progreso, la diversidad y la fortaleza del liderazgo dentro del estado de Maryland. Y por cuanto como inmigrante, abogada y líder comunitaria, la trayectoria de la presidenta Peña Melnick refleja perseverancia, determinación y una creencia inquebrantable en la promesa del servicio público y la participación cívica, y por cuanto la presidenta Peña Melnick ha defendido continuamente iniciativas que elevan a las comunidades desatendidas, amplían el acceso a recursos críticos y aseguran que todos los residentes tengan voz en el gobierno. Y por cuanto su dedicación a la colaboración, la mentoría y el servicio ha inspirado innumerables personas en todo el condado de Prince George y más allá, dejando un impacto duradero en la gobernanza local y estatal. Y por cuanto la ciudad de College Park reconoce y celebra las destacadas contribuciones de la presidenta Peña Melnick a los residentes de Maryland y su continuo compromiso con la construcción de comunidades más fuertes, saludables e inclusivas. Por lo tanto, se proclama que el alcalde y el consejo de la ciudad de College Park, Maryland, por la presente reconocen y honra a la presidenta de la Cámara de Delegados de Maryland, Jocelyn Peña Melnick, por su liderazgo ejemplar, sus logros históricos, su dedicado servicio público y su compromiso inquebrantable con los residentes de la ciudad de College Park, el condado de Prince George y el estado de Maryland. Expresamos nuestro sincero agradecimiento y nuestros mejores deseos de éxito continuo en todos sus futuros emprendimientos. Proclamado este día 12 de mayo del 2026, el alcalde Fazul Kabir de la ciudad de College Park.
I know we're going to take a picture. I have to say that this translation is excellent. And the accents are there, everything. Very well done. I want to thank everyone for this beautiful honor. I don't take it for granted one bit. It means the world to me, to my family and I. I am very, very aware that I am where I am because it took a village because of all of you and everyone that has ever loved, given me the time. I want you to know that I don't take it for granted, and that the 21st District Delegation works really hard for College Park, and we work really hard for Prince George's. This session we brought an extra $91 million, and we work really hard to represent you. I want you to know that you have a voice and that your voice matters, and that I am proud to live here and to call this my home. And on behalf of my mom, who's no longer on this earth, I know I reflect her. I want to say thank you so much for the honor. I don't take it for granted one bit, okay? Thank you so much.
We'll be taking another photo over there behind Justin. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
We're like literally 2 minutes.
It's always on. Yes, yes, okay.
And I want to thank everyone for being so patient as you wait, okay? I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Very grateful, very honored. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is so beautiful. Thank you.
This
And
is
thank you to my colleagues for being patient.
certainly this is the least we could do.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful.
All right, I want to recognize my fantastic colleagues first, and I believe all of them are here. I'm so yeah, all of them from all the districts, starting with Councilmember Jordan from District 2, Councilmember Hugh from District 1, Councilmember Mitchell from District 4, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey from District 4, and Councilmember Hernandez from District 1, and Councilmember Oates from District 3, and Councilmember Simmons from District 2. Thank you all, and please give them a round of applause for everything they do for our residents. And we are also joined by our District 21 colleagues, not colleagues, our partners as well, starting with Senator Jim Rosapep and Delegate Mary Lehman. Delegate Barnes sent his regrets that because of another commitment, he could not be here. And also we are joined by our City Council member, Eric Olson. County Council member, oh my goodness, why did I say city? It's a lot bigger. He used to be. Sorry, my apologies for demoting you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so lucky to have you all. All right, so we have a few more minutes, and I see Jim. Sorry, what did you say, Jim? Senator Rosapep, because he's one of us as well. And also Delegate Mary Lehman, if you could give us a little bit of a rundown of the summary of what has been done in the past session, which has ended very recently. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us to this cool event. It's very exciting. I have to say, and this reflects no value on the Maryland Senate, is the most important thing that happened in Annapolis this year was electing Jocelyn as Speaker of the House. Right. Everything else pales in comparison with that. It does. Oh, it really does. I mean, in a couple different ways. I mean, one is her energy and leadership in the House makes it easier for us to work with the House. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two is the fact that she's from College Park, that she's part of the 21st delegation, makes my job a whole lot easier. And so that was the most important thing. The issues are important, but from College Park's point of view, from the state's point of view, her election as Speaker was the headline. I want to make that point number one. Number two is, people talk about how historic her election is, about how she's the second female Speaker, that she's the first Afro-Latino Speaker, that she's the first immigrant Speaker. There's a bigger one that's more important. She's the only Speaker of the House in Maryland history who has walked every street in College Park. And that's a big deal for College Park, because when we're talking about issues related to College Park, she knows what we're talking about. And if somebody's from some other place, they know about their community, and God bless them, do it. But she knows College Park intimately, as we all know. The other thing I wanted to say is give a little compliment to College Park. And this is no reflection on West Laurel, where our colleague
Or any of Laurel.
or any of Laurel, but specifically where Delegate Lehman lives, is when Jocelyn was elected, I'd have a few people say to me, "Oh my gosh, what's with College Park? That you got the Speaker of the House, you got the Chair of the Appropriations Committee, you got the Vice Chair of the Budget and Tax Committee, you got subcommittee chairman. What's going on?" And I thought about that seriously. All three of us, she was born in the Dominican Republic, I was born in Italy, Ben was born in Greenbelt. And we all, they're all exotic in their own way, and you were born in Greenbelt too.
I can attest to that.
Exactly. But we all moved to College Park. We're all immigrants to the three of us are all immigrants to College Park. And I don't know, I'm not going to tell Ben's story, but I don't know it that well, and I'm not going to tell Jocelyn's story because I don't know it that well. But I know when my wife Sheila and I were looking at houses around the area, we looked in a whole variety of places. And I'll never forget, and this is the house we now live in, and we're walking around with the realtor, and we come out from the back of the house, we're coming to the front of the house, and she says, "Oh, and this house has College Park trash." And I said, "Well, doesn't every house in College Park have College Park trash?" She said, No, I don't mean that. I mean College Park trash collection. The College Park, and this was a while ago, before everything got even better. She was selling it as a real estate agent because the services provided by the city of College Park for trash was a big selling point for the house. So I do think the city deserves a lot of credit for the leadership that has come out of the city. Because the city attracts people, and there are many of you here, I don't know who was born in College Park and who wasn't, but the city attracts people who want to do things and want to build a good community and want to work together. And I think when Jocelyn was elected, I had a few people congratulate me, and I said, I couldn't vote for her. Mary nominated her, and Ben seconded the nomination. I couldn't vote. I said I could only vote to elect to the House of Delegates, which I've done. But I do think people were seeing something that reflects well on College Park. And I think you all should be proud of that. And I want to have a round of applause for College Park. Jocelyn covered a variety of issues that we dealt with during the session. Let me give Mary a chance to talk, and then we're happy to come back and deal with issues you'd like to.
Okay, all right, thank you, Jim. Can everyone hear me? Is this working? Yeah, okay, oh, okay, don't touch it. All right, so first of all, it was such a huge honor to be able to nominate Jocelyn for Speaker. Such an exciting, historic day, and I am proud to say that I also was part of a small team, about 8 or 10 of us, that whipped votes for her, and it was a labor of it was a labor of love. It really was. So exciting to see her in that role, and she is doing amazing things. She commented that it was an amazing and historic session, and it was primarily in the House because of her leadership. It was really something to see. So some of you might know, I am finishing my second 4-year term, running for re-election this year. I spent my first 7 years in the House of Delegates on the Environment and Transportation Committee. That was the committee I requested when I got elected in 2018. Loved being on that committee, got a lot of good bills passed, but then our new speaker, in her infinite wisdom, decided that it was time to stand up a new 7th committee because there were a lot of government functions, mainly procurement, but other issues, a variety of issues from the existing 6 committees that needed to be rehomed in a 7th committee. She asked me if I would serve on that committee, and I thought, you know what, change is exciting, change is good, and yeah, I'm going to take a shot at the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee, which is the name, we call it GLEE. And so a lot of what comes there, it's a variety of issues. Again, procurement is a big deal, but elections, labor, and workers' rights, all the alcohol bills come there, local bills. I am the chair, thanks to Speaker Pena-Melnick, of the local government subcommittee, and that is a nod to my 8 years on the county council and understanding local government. And it has been a really exciting committee. It started off a little bit slowly. I saw my chair yesterday at a bill signing in Annapolis, and she said, honestly, what did you think? And Ken Kerr, the vice chair, asked me the same thing. And I said, the first few weeks were really kind of slow. Some of the procurement issues, some of the IT and the AI issues that we were briefed on are a little dry, and I'm not a tech person, but it got more interesting as the session went along, and the speaker claims that this now is the committee that everybody wants to serve on because it's so interesting and exciting. So with that, I'm going to tell you a couple of highlights that I picked out that I think maybe are they're interesting and exciting, but especially relevant to College Park as a university town, and for other reasons that I'll explain. So first of all, if any of you have followed for many years, I think Eric has, the debate around collective bargaining rights for the graduate assistants at the University of Maryland, and yes, thank you, as well as the non-tenure track faculty. There have been efforts for at least a decade, maybe more, to get this done for the faculty and the graduate assistants in College Park and beyond. And it got to the point where Maryland was the only school, the University of Maryland, the only school in the Big Ten that did not allow a collective bargaining for its graduate assistants, which just was so not right. And I am an alum of the University of Maryland College Park and told their lobbyists, this to me is an embarrassment. They have fought it tooth and nail for years, but finally reached consensus with the bill sponsor, with help from Speaker Pena-Melnick and others. And so Delegate Foley, my colleague from Montgomery, got both of those bills passed. They passed the House and the Senate, and I believe they've already been signed by the governor, I think. But anyway, so the graduate assistants, and these are the folks that help make that university work, right? The professors would say they couldn't do what they do without them grading papers, teaching, tutoring students, and so that's a good thing. And the same for the non-tenure track faculty. So to all of this, I say it's about time. And then another issue, I think that deserves applause. They are some really, really hardworking people. Thank you. On the voter front, what I think is a really great bill, and it came from our colleague, I think this is Edith Patterson's bill. She did a couple of really good bills. Anyway, this is an Environment and Transportation Committee bill. So those collective bargaining bills were heard by Government, Labor, and Elections and passed. The other bill I wanted to mention is for buses, regular, public buses that stop within a half a mile on their regular route of an early voting center. This new law says that during the entire period of early voting, that bus that is currently stopping within half a mile must go all the way to the early voting center and deliver people directly to the early voting center. So folks that don't drive, that's a good bill too. Folks that don't drive, don't own cars, students and others that would have a hard time getting to early voting, might have to take an Uber, will now be delivered to the door. So that's good news as well. And then on the environmental front, quickly, I know pedestrian safety is a huge deal in most communities, but especially in a university town with the heavy traffic of Route 1. So our good friend and delegate from our neighboring district, Ann Healy. Do you all know Ann Healy? She's amazing. She's actually retiring this year after 36 years in the House, one of the longest serving members. So she will not be back in 2027, but she got this, what I would consider a legacy bill passed, House Bill 1504, highways, sidewalks, and bicycle pathways, construction and reconstruction. And what it says is where there are already sidewalks or where sidewalks are needed, same with bike paths, but we need new ones or we need to rebuild them and repair them. Priority is going to be given to sidewalks that are either and bike paths that are designated Vision Zero themselves, or they're adjacent to a road that's Vision Zero. And I know you all know what that is. Eric has been a big proponent of that. It's a target area with, where there have been relatively high rates of pedestrian injuries and deaths and bicyclist injuries and deaths. And the goal is to get that number down to zero. And so that, in honor of Ann, she did not know this, but the Environment and Transportation Committee surprised her at the end of session, got permission, from the Speaker to name House Bill 1504 the Honorable Ann Healy Pedestrian Safety Act of 2026. So that's a great thing to honor her and remember her by. And then really quickly, did everyone get one of these with the summary of our accomplishments? So the big news in our district, again, with tremendous help from Jim, it was actually his idea, along with former Delegate Tim Maloney, ton of support, critical support from the speaker, is we passed legislation to protect the zoning on the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center and the Patuxent Research Refuge. Now, together, those pieces of property equal almost 20,000 acres of land. It is a huge piece of undeveloped property between Baltimore and Washington. Environmentalists and other, green folks call it the green lung of our region because it's the largest, contiguous piece of undeveloped property in the region. And why did we put that forward? Well, Jim and then Delegate Tim Maloney, years ago, after Ronald Reagan made noise about surplusing bark, said we better do something to protect this 7,000 or so acres. And they put forward legislation that's on the books still, or now it's been replaced, but it's been on the books all these years to say if the federal government were to sell or surplus bark, that it could not be the Prince George's County Council could not change the zoning to residential, commercial, industrial. It would have to remain an agricultural use. So Jim got to talking to Tim, and they agreed that the Patuxent Research Refuge could also be at risk. Now, I did not realize this. I thought most of it was in Prince George's. Actually, over the years, the piece in Anne Arundel has grown in size. Steny Hoyer got a chunk of Fort Meade surplused and added to Patuxent. So more of the land is in Anne Arundel. It's the bigger of the two properties. It's about 13,500 acres. Again, a lot of land, a lot of valuable, which I did not know. The Maryland Native Plant Society testified in both the House and Senate and said there are a lot of rare, really rare, threatened and endangered plants and shrubs and trees that we've cataloged over the decades, some of which have been found nowhere else in the continental and in the whole United States. So it was really important to do that. And I want to emphasize it's a contingency bill, meaning it only takes effect if the federal government tries to sell off or surplus those properties. And the governor signed it into law yesterday. So we were thrilled about that. Thank you. And I think the summary also mentions an air conditioning bill I got passed. I don't know if you still have older buildings in this city that were built without air conditioning, but if they are, I imagine there's some. There have to be some. So what this bill will do is say with brand new housing, air conditioning, apartment buildings, I should say, with 10 units or more have to have air conditioning. For older buildings, once they undergo a renovation, that's the electrical panel gets replaced, or the heating system, the boiler, the radiator, whatever the heating system is, if that has to be replaced at the same time, the landlord must put in air conditioning. And thank you. And I know Aurelis was supportive of that bill. And why is that important? Because our summers are getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and they're not going to get cooler. They're going to keep getting hotter. And in the view of housing advocates, air conditioning is as important as heat. It's as important a public health and safety issue. 36 Marylanders died last year of heat-related illness in every part of the state, including Western Maryland. So I'm really proud of that bill and proud of my colleagues for helping me to get that through. It looked like it wasn't going to make it through the Senate, but it did. And so I'm going to stop there, and so we can take any questions or.
Certainly. Before we go there, Jim, do you have any final?
No, whatever you'd like.
Okay. Before we go to the audience and take some questions, I'd like to give an opportunity to our county councilor, which is actually vice chair of the county council. That's a big deal. Let's give her a round of applause. And I know you're going through the budget, and I saw you you're running the budget, MNCVPC, Park and Planning, and the county joint budget session the other day.
Yes, thank you. So we're in the
everything you
midst of our budget, and we will pass it in the next couple of weeks. A lot of things we're looking out for College Park. I'm looking out for College Park, and Tom Dernoga is looking out for College Park. We got your letter, Mr. Mayor, and I'm working on it.
Thank you.
But this is Jocelyn's Day, right? And I want to say just a few things about this very first, session with her as speaker is just, such a amazing thing for Prince George's County because, like she said, we were able to get $91 million more this year for Prince George's County, and we need it. She is a fierce advocate for College Park and for Prince George's County. When we had the chair and I and others of the council, there's a lot of bills in Annapolis, and they affect the counties in different ways. And when we needed assistance, we called on her, and she made the time. Her staff made sure to get it on her calendar. You always were there for us. And you made it clear to the secretaries when we needed assistance that they be on a call at whatever time it was that we needed them on the call, whether it was early in the morning or whatever it was. And you were on those calls too, some of those calls that we had with the secretaries. You pulled people together like you always have, even as a city council member. You always brought people together, and they knew you were there on the call, and they cooperated with us. And that's the power of having a speaker who is looking out for us. And we, that probably would not have happened. I know that wouldn't have happened without Jocelyn being the chair. So she's looking out for us all the time. I think one time you took the call. Well, it was an early morning call. Let's just say that. She was doing a lot of other things. But I also want to say the day of your swearing in. So Mary nominated you, and Ben seconded it. But there was, and I don't know who it was, but there was a Republican who closed the nominations.
Right. Yes.
And this actually it moved me. And I'm not sure if he was on your committee or not, but he said yes, he was on your committee, and he spoke to, and we all know this. Anyone who knows Jocelyn knows this. He spoke to her fairness and her humility, which we all know. And the last thing he said was, you'll see her in the hallway, or you'll be leaving a committee meeting, and at the end she will say, "Have a blessed day." And we all know that. Mm-hmm. Anybody who knows Jocelyn knows that she says that to us. And he said, and she really means it. Yeah. And that's a real thing. Like, a lot of people can say things, but Jocelyn, we all know Jocelyn means that. And then he said, and this is a blessed day. And that is in our world of politics, in national politics, I found that super important, and a real tribute to you, and someone who really recognizes who you are. And so that's your character.
Thank you.
And we are all grateful that you are here representing us.
Thank you. Thank you for being so kind. You and I served together on the council, and we always had an amazing relationship. And you're also someone, Eric, that just has a beautiful heart and has a good soul and really cares. Like, you're genuine. And it's so hard to meet people like that. All of you here, I mean that. And I don't say what I don't mean. I feel so blessed to have worked with you, and thank you for your kind words. I don't take it for granted one bit. I care deeply about all of Maryland, and I try. That's why I created the Rural Caucus, to make sure that they also had services and resources. And he lives in the rural area, so thanks for saying that. I thank everyone here. I just feel really blessed and grateful, okay? And I want you guys to know that.
So, thank you. So it's 7:03, so actually we're doing pretty good on time. So this is the time you can ask questions, and we expect some questions for our 21st delegations, if possible. And please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hello, many of you probably know me. My name is Alexandra. I'm a College Park resident. I work at the University of Maryland. So first of all, I want to really thank you for passing this collective bargaining bill. I used to be a graduate research assistant, a postdoc. Now I'm a member of non-tenure track faculty. So thousands of my colleagues got collective bargaining rights through this bill. Unfortunately, I'm one of the people who still fell through the cracks of the amendments of the bill because I'm 100% funded from research grants. But hopefully, we could revisit this bill in future legislative sessions, but right now we're working on setting up that union for my colleagues who did get the right. So we're really excited about that. Thank you so much. And my question is about one of the issues for the next legislative session, or maybe 2 sessions out, or, we are right now going through the process of the nomination of the school's PGCPS superintendent, and it's a very frustrating process. On Friday, the list of 3 candidates was delivered to the county executive by the search committee, and they just published a press release where it says it's kept confidential, even though literally every other county has an open process. And PG County is one of the maybe the only county in Maryland, one of the few counties in Maryland that has a superintendent of the schools appointed by the county executive and not elected by the board. And there's a piece of legislation that I read just this morning that was passed several years ago, specifically for PG County, saying that granting this power of appointment of the superintendent. So, my question is, will you consider returning to this issue, at least requiring this process to be more transparent? Because honestly, now it's so frustrating because it's literally zero oversight, zero transparency of this process, and potentially in the future bringing the process back to the Board of Education so that at least we as parents, as voters, as taxpayers have at least some sort of say in this process, because right now it's like just non-transparent, and it's a $3 to $4 billion budget that PGCPS has, and it's a person who decides how this money is spent, and there's literally zero. We have zero power we have zero say in who is appointed to this role.
Well, let me pick up on that. I was involved when the most recent version of the law was passed, and I've been around a while, as some of you know. And so I've been through various changes in the law about how the superintendent's appointed, how the school board is chosen. We've had elected school boards, we've had appointed school boards, we've had mixed school boards, and we have not come up with the perfect solution. I want to start with that. Number one. Number two is there are a variety of ways, both in Maryland and in other states, that they handle the recruitment and selection of a superintendent. I agree with you that even under the current system, we need more transparency. So I speak for Jocelyn and Mary here, that we're definitely open to talking about that. It's important to keep in mind, though, that the reason that we gave the county executive the authority was because of, frankly, dysfunction with the school board during quite a number of years. And it's hard to recruit and keep good superintendents if there really isn't the base of support, particularly in the county government, because the state and the county provide all the money for the school system. And so the idea was, and I'm not going to say it's worked out perfectly, but the idea was to have more integration between the county executive's office and the school system. And so those are some of the issues that when we come back and readdress those issues, I think we're going to be talking about. But I think more transparency is something we definitely should look at.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be a huge, big step if we could have like more, community listening sessions and like kind of some direct input in this process. Thank you so much. Good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Good. All right, who's next? Please come forward. And those who have joined online, please raise your virtual hand, and we can allow you to speak. Please.
Thank you. Hussein Waheed, Advanced Technology Acceleration Initiative, University of Maryland, College Park. It has functioned for over 4 decades here through College Park, and it has produced results that we did not expect when it started. It has always been voluntary, but now we realize that the output of this group reaches several $billion. And the irony is the groups that use it deliver the efficiency. It is transformative. And the groups that do not use it incur huge losses. So this last year, I happened to hear the testimony, and each one of the agencies testified they could not track where $500 to $1 billion went. And I realized the system that University of Maryland, College Park developed is entirely free. And it works rapidly, within a few minutes. And every time we propose that please utilize this, the response is, oh, it is so difficult. My goodness, we are not going to touch it. It's going to be very expensive. And that is the official comment that came in for the last bill we were trying to put together. And it almost passed, but the comment itself has to be taken care of, and it'll take a long time. But it'll get done. All I'm trying to point out is the engine of University of Maryland College Park contributes tremendously. On its own, whatever reason it is, I just happen to look at all the participants in this work group. They are all alumni of College Park. And when they go in competitions, they fare better than the best groups in the country, which is surprising. Why would, such a small group, it is not affiliated with leading universities, independently produces on a regular basis over decades, brings the #1 ranking in the country to the programs and centers here. So all I'm interested in that we give them a priority and let them deliver the solutions which they have done for decades.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, and you're referring to House Bill 1570?
Yes.
Correct? So you introduced that bill went to GLEE, okay? The bill was opposed by some of the agencies, including the Maryland Department of Transportation.
Yes.
And basically, they were opposed to it because of the potential liability for relying on algorithm for construction decisions, lack of transparency, and therefore the bill did not get a vote. We're not going to get into the policy right now and discuss it.
Sure.
The way I actually operate, I do not tell my committees how to vote.
Yes.
Because I've been there when sometimes that was done. I want to give people respect, let them have a hearing,
Sure.
let everyone come, that's the process, to the committee and give the testimony, and then the committee, which is a committee that is diverse, because we're required to have committees that have both parties, have different genders and jurisdictions and experiences. They discuss it and they decide whether the bill can pass or not. A bill usually, honestly, a good bill sometimes takes more than 3 years to pass.
Yes.
I think that it takes time for the departments to be able to change their position, and it takes a lot of meetings. Sometimes when you put in the bill really early, it makes more sense, and when you start working it now. So I would advise you to work it now, bring all the different departments, especially the Maryland Department of Transportation that opposed it.
Yes.
Sit down with them and see if you can compromise. And you have a wonderful person that is the sponsor, which was Delegate Young.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Superb. No,
All right.
everything is working. All I wanted to say was even if the bill doesn't pass, it still delivers results. Because we know we have gone through this whole process for decades.
But in order to get the agencies to use it,
Yes.
you have to pass a bill.
Yes,
So
true.
in order, and congratulations that it works, the results, and I mean, with all due respect, forgive me for interrupting you, it works, but in order for a bill to pass,
Yes.
when you have agencies, they come and testify and say, we oppose it. This is going to have, every bill gets a fiscal note.
Yes.
The fiscal note tells you what that impact is at the local level and state level, what it's going to cost to implement.
Yes.
When that, all of that is balanced. When they say it doesn't work, I am telling you, free advice,
Yes.
to start early, start now,
Yes.
after the primary, because Delegate Young has a primary. Wait until after June. God willing, he'll win, because I want him back. And then after June 23rd, meet with him so you could start working on it early.
We'll do that, and we'll help him through the primaries also, because students participated.
If they pass the bill.
It became popular on its own. Students contributed.
Thank you.
And they solved Department of Transportation's problem in 5 minutes. So it is a good footing, but I want to appreciate, because you passed the bill HB 855, Science, Technology, Best Practices. It's a unique bill. No other state has it as far as we know, and it facilitates this whole process.
And we passed it.
Yes, yes, and thanks to that. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have someone, okay, please come forward. Ruth, come forward, please.
Good evening. My name is Ruth Murphy, and I do have a lot of questions, and I'm going to try to be brief. One does address the school system. I notice our fire departments don't have to ask for more money. Our police departments, they even get more money when they don't ask. And I feel we're a little over-policed, but that's a different story. Our school system desperately needs more money, so I look at the budget. A lot of the funds, the increase has gone into technology. And I appreciate it. I know we want to, as a county, be on the cutting edge, but the truth is technology is putting not only our people out of business, they don't have jobs, but it's also so increasing the anxiety of our students. I truly believe we need to start putting money back into people in our schools. You can decide how that should look, but we do need programs like more conflict resolution, character education, restorative justice is a great program that schools use, and we absolutely need more school counselors, because right now it's like 1,000 to 1. How do we expect our children to feel centered, to feel they can contribute to our communities when we're not putting the money into interpersonal skills? We do not need technology to bring back talking to each other and literally problem solving together. So whatever I can do to help you, I'm happy to volunteer my time there. But please, as you're looking at your budgets, ask yourselves, is this going directly to families? Because the stronger we are as a community, the better we are. And when Jim asked the question, well, what really does make College Park a wonderful place? I can tell you, if you just look around the room, we are made up of many different people. I too am an immigrant. Most of us really value education, which is part of the reason we live in this area. And we are creative, and we actually have a bit of attitude that helps us know that we're going to make ourselves welcome where we go. And all of those are not magical. We've been raised that way. We're independent thinkers, and we don't always agree, but we do work together. And your kids in schools are sitting ducks because we don't stop the gun laws. We just teach them how to respond when they're under threat. They know that. Their anxiety is high. Let's find a way to work together to really help people invest in their families, come back to interacting with each other, and let me know how I can help you with that. So that was the first thing. If any of you have ideas,
Thank you.
Please, you're welcome to share now.
Yes, and thank you for your commitment and your passion. It's important. I do have to say that we as a state, we passed the blueprint for Maryland. I don't know if you're familiar with it. You want to address it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure.
And then I like to finish so that we can share it. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll do it very briefly.
Yeah.
I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that, the legislature was concerned about the schools in a broad sense for all kinds of reasons. And so we created what was called the Kirwan Commission, chaired by Britt Kirwan, the former president of the University of Maryland College Park, that looked at what were the most successful school systems in the world. Not in Prince George's County, not in Maryland, not in the United States, but what were the most successful ones in the world, and what did they do? A lot of pieces of that, which we don't have time to talk about tonight, came up with recommendations for what's called the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, which was a new law that does a whole variety of things, but it particularly increases investments in our schools and exactly the stuff you're talking about. Now, the money comes to the school systems, and the issue that was raised earlier about selection of superintendents and decisions, much of it is driven by what the blueprint says. So, for example, we mandated a lot of new money for mental health. We mandated creation of more counselor positions. We mandated tutoring in the early grade. I mean, I can get down the list, but those are mandates that the school systems have to execute on. So I don't think you'll find any disagreement, certainly with this delegation, but in the legislature in general, with what you're saying. And we have put our money where our mouth is. And when you read these stories about how we have projected deficits in the future, which we do, we balance the budget every year. So we don't have a deficit this year. We're not going to have a deficit next year. But one of the reasons there are projected shortfalls in future years is because we've mandated very significant increases in investment in education.
And the blueprint actually, and there's a website, if you go to Maryland Blueprint, and you'll see what it is, what it does, requiring additional 15,000 additional people to be hired, including counselors, as well as teachers, making sure that community schools have wraparound services as well. We're doing it. However, I have to just tell you that if you want to advocate and be impactful regarding education, we provide the money. Like we're doing $2 billion for 10 years a year. We give Prince George's County probably more than $2 billion a year, right? For education. But we are not the superintendent. We're not the Board of Education. And you have your board member. So this that you're saying, you need to take it to the board member, because we are sort of separate, like the 3 branches, right? And we pass the laws, we give the money, but it comes to the locals and they decide how they're gonna spend it, right? We sort of have a rubric of what we expect, but what you said needs to go to the Board of Education and your school board member. Of course, we communicate with them and we'll let them know, we constantly do, but you must go, like you are right here, they have hearings, and I tell you, I don't know if you have showed up, yeah, you need to continue to show up, and you need to continue to show up and hold them accountable.
So I'm coming to you because I don't feel heard, and I'm like, okay, it's like I'm going to the parents now to say, jack them up if they need to be, because they need to make choices that are really directly helping families. And I was just sad to see the increase in the technology piece when we really need it in a different space.
So you live in District 2 or District 3?
District 2.
So there's an election. You're going to get a new member.
Board of Election Supervisors, I believe, is also part of my role.
So you're going to get, there's a couple people running, right? You're going to get a new member. I think it's important. They're going to have some debates in the community to go and bring those issues up. But we'll definitely communicate. Like what we learn here, we'll definitely take it back. And I talk to Dr. Joseph all the time. I just saw him today for lunch. We were at a lunch together. I will go ahead and bring it up as well.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Count on it.
My other piece was the electronics and data centers and how that seems to be connecting to my electric bill.
We're on it.
We took care of that.
Yes, I saw that, but I feel bad. I don't necessarily want the subsidy. All those different fees on our bills, I really don't know where they're going. Funny story, $400 for my electric bill, and I don't even have air conditioning that works. You tell me, and I live in a small house, just an FYI. So I'm just saying some
So
things.
you're going to be happy to learn that Delegate Lehman worked hard with a bill on putting a link that tells you what the bill is. And I believe, I don't know that they took it, but I heard that the PSC is actually that they're going to require it so that you understand all the different fees on the bill.
They have done that.
I put forward a standalone bill that was heard. I put forward a standalone bill that before I knew, I started working with my staff on it last summer during the interim, before I knew that there was going to be this, omnibus bill that was going to take all these smaller energy bills and bundle them together and pass them as one bill. And they, with input from the speaker and the chair of my old committee, the Environment and Transportation Committee, Chair Corman, they looked at my transparency bill and what it says, and they adopted not all of it, but the most important parts of it, is that if an energy company files something with the Public Service Commission, it can be anything that could potentially result in a rate increase, then, and that might not be the purpose of the filing, but if it could potentially, and that's actually what the bill says, then the language that got into the law, if it could result in a rate increase, then there has to be notice in customers' bills, not just that that filing has been made, but how you can get engaged with the Public Service Commission, where to look on the website, how to follow the process, how to weigh in, because that does not exist now. The one piece, and I'm going to bring it back as a bill next year, that did not make it in, and we got the idea from Colorado and from Maine that both do this, because when energy companies do put in for a rate increase, what they typically will say is, oh, your rate has only gone up by, 1 or 2% over the last year, the last 2 years. What those states do is they require a 10-year graphic showing the change in rates over a decade, which is much more meaningful for people, and it shows the true growth in that rate over time. In the House Senate conference, that piece was dropped, that 10-year reporting requirement. I told a friend of mine, everybody here knows him, I'm not going to say his name, that works at BGE, when I saw him on Sine Die the last day of session, and I had heard through the grapevine that piece was out. I said, I'm going to bring back that bill next year as a standalone bill. I thought he was going to go through the roof. He said, you've got to be kidding me. What? This is a compromise. I said, who says we can't try for it again? Like, that's what we do all the time. As the speaker said, it takes sometimes 3 or more years to get a good bill passed, and I am committed to doing that. So there will be better ratepayer engagement and education and outreach.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. By the way, whoever's helping to slow down ICE getting their permits for different places, I appreciate that. I don't know if you know
We
that.
are all.
Oh.
Yes,
And
we are
we
all
passed the bill, we
passing.
passed the bill. We are all working
Aligned.
together. All eyes are on it. And I want to thank the county for your amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Ruth, just thank you for the comments. I do want to say that just today I had a meeting with PGCPS about opening a therapeutic pre-K. And this is to get kids who are especially have had trauma, have had, and to get them ready for school and for their lives. I mean, if you're not ready, if you're 3 years old, 4 years old, and you have had significant events in your life, you're not going to come into school and be ready. The classroom's going to be disrupted. It also helps society. It helps them individually, their families, and so we're working on that. That's actually on the list to the IAC and everybody else, and I know that the state is on board. But for that, we're working with Latin American Youth Center on that as well. So,
Absolutely.
So we're all about the people. Thank you.
And the beauty of it is that we are working together, right? That we share the same values, and it really makes a difference. It really does, to get things done. These are tough times we're living through, and we cannot keep our arms crossed. There's no way. You want to look back 10 years from now, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did something to preserve democracy, right? To just advocate for the right policies and to help people. That humanity, we cannot lose it. And I'm just blessed that you are where you are,
Such powerful words. So our city council member, Denise Mitchell, wants to speak. Something?
I always have questions, so. But my first question is regards to the school system. Prince George's County Public Schools had a very strong Head Start program that no longer exists. And I don't know for what reason, but we have children who would really benefit from it because it does provide wraparound services. So I don't know if that's some consideration that could be done with the county working with the 21st. Because that's a key integral. Pre-K now. Well, it's pre-K, but Head Start. It used to be an actual grant from Head Start, the National Head Start program in Prince George's County, and then it dissolved a couple of years ago. Yeah. And I mean, we can talk about. I'm just saying that. But my second question is regarding our seniors who are aging in place. Many of our seniors in my day job, or our councilman also knows, I work in have the honor to work in Prince George's County government. But in my job, I receive so many calls for seniors or individuals who are trying to pay for their property taxes. Some of the property taxes are $10,000, some are $8,000, some are $14,000, and they cannot pay the bill by the deadline. So I don't know if there's some type, I know in some states, when you turn 80, you don't have to pay property taxes anymore. But I think really in the state of Maryland, if we can look at it collectively, because it's becoming an undue hardship. I see 14 or 15 pages of people who are going through tax sale because they can't pay their property taxes. So if there's something that could be considered, because people are leaving their homes because they cannot pay 1 year, 2 years of back taxes. And these are people who have worked for 25, 30 years thinking that they'd be retired, and now they're on a fixed income and they cannot pay the property taxes at all. So if something, I'm not saying, if something could be looked into for consideration, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I know we passed a bill that gives the counties, it was enabling legislation to give the counties the flexibility to be able to enact laws at the county level to give people a break. And I know that Prince George's, I think, did it, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then, Eric, if you can address that, and then
Sure.
Mary can address the bill that she put in this session to deal when people are being taken advantage of and there's a sales, tax sales of people's property that we just passed this session.
Right. So there was a bill passed for senior property tax credit before I got back on the council in just a few years ago, and then but it didn't actually function very well because of the criteria. So basically, very few people qualified for it. So we started to try to fix that, and then we had a fiscal problem, and the county executive at the time asked us to hold off on that and pull back on that. So we did, because we had a big budget gap, $171 million budget gap. We are still, the council is still, I think we all want to find a way to make that happen that's responsible. And we are committed to that, and we are trying to work through that. But, you know, these things are not, I mean, these things are not easy and easy to fix, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, really quickly. So we had a case, a really heartbreaking case in Beltsville, and often, you know, Speaker Peña-Melnick will say we get our best ideas for legislation from citizens, and this is a very, very unfortunate, just terrible story. But a family in Beltsville whose the father was very ill with terminal cancer, 2 different kinds of cancer, and his wife, you know, had some health issues too, and I think they had just had one adult daughter, and she was doing her best to sort of help manage the household and get dad to appointments, and they missed the property tax, you know, bill. And it just, you know, it just got missed with all of the attention to the medical issues. And the house was sold. They had lived in this home for 30 years, paid off, so no mortgage on this house. It was sold at a tax sale. The title was sold out from underneath them. And the daughter got in touch with the speaker's office before she became speaker, actually, but let her know what was going on and said, can you do anything to step in? And even if you can't, and, you know, to her credit, said, even if for some reason you can't, we don't ever want this to happen to another family. And so the speaker asked me if I could take the bill. After she became speaker, her plate was just so full. And she explained the situation, and she and her staff had already done a lot of the legwork, had talked to the family, had talked to the ombudsman's office that, you know, was established to help, especially seniors, but other folks who, for whatever reason, are at risk of losing their home or behind on property taxes. So they had done all that legwork, and I stepped in and, you know, was able to take the information they had already put together, talk to the family, you know, talk to the ombudsman's office, and so we put forward legislation, and it did pass the House and Senate, I think unanimously in both cases, and has not yet been signed by Governor Moore, but it will be. And what it says is that if you are terminally ill or have a significant medical hardship, a really serious chronic illness, something like dementia, say, that is affecting your ability as a property owner to handle those taxes, to respond, to pay them, that you can designate someone to act on your behalf, and it will be done through the ombudsman's office. You have to have a doctor involved to verify that a person is terminally ill or has some other health condition, and that will prevent. And then also there's a piece that says that there, that once that's established, that notification, and that person that's designated on the property owner's behalf, that then there are other checks and balances in the system to stop properties like that in the future from even being put on a list for a tax sale. What I learned from the ombudsman's office, which is, it's tragic no matter what, but she said, interestingly, all of these cases that we hear about, virtually 100% of them are people that have lived in these homes for 25, 30 or more years, and there is no mortgage on the property. It's been paid. They're losing them because of the taxes. And sometimes it's another type of hardship, financial, but it's terrible that this happened to this family. They actually still are in the house, and the company that bought the title tried to get in touch with my office. Somebody signed up to testify at the House hearing, never showed up. I thought this is going to be interesting to hear what this company has to say. But what the daughter has said is, so far they haven't put it up for sale, but they could any day because they own title to it. So the father did pass away. He was, at the very end of his life, stage 4. I think he had 2 different types of cancer. He's gone. The mother is still living there. The daughter lives elsewhere, but checks on her mother daily. But that house could be sold tomorrow, and there is nothing they can do about it. And it was paid off. So that will never happen again under this new law.
Thank you. Let's go online because someone is patiently waiting. Will Doyle? Can you please allow him? Yeah, well, please go ahead.
Yes, okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is...
can you please speak a bit loudly? I can hardly hear you. Maybe microphone.
Can you hear me better now?
No, if you could please come close to the microphone, maybe. Are you still there? Okay. Or if you, that's a good idea. If you can type your question in the chat, we can read it and respond accordingly. All right. In the meantime, I believe Councilor Hernandez has a question or a comment.
First off, thank you all for taking the time to really come and speak with the residents and for demonstrate such a united front. I think anybody who comes up here and asks a question, you're like, yeah, we have a plan for that, or we're already addressing it, or we're doing it. It's because you're listening to the residents, and that's so valuable. I heard you, Madam Speaker, start early, right? So session just ended. I want to see how we can work with you all, the state, the county, as partners on a couple of things. I see Len here, who's our wonderful lobbyist, but no one lobbies better than oneself sometimes in front of folks. So we have this beautiful gateway to the university. Let me just tell you. You come off of 495 and you drive south right up until Maryland. I lost the name. 193. And then you enter, the university adjacent area of College Park. We're almost done. I'm wondering how we prioritize that last stretch, that phase 3 of Baltimore Avenue.
We are on that.
I'm wondering how we prioritize.
And Glenn is amazing. Len is amazing. Len Lucci. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes.
This is
his baby.
His baby.
No, it's not
all
my
of
baby.
us and Ben Barnes.
Ben has worked real hard on it, and Barry and Jocelyn.
On the money.
So we've worked very closely with the city on it. So this is one of the things on my list that I want to give a little update on.
Yeah.
So this is the second year in a row that we've got money in the transportation budget to proceed with planning for phases 2 and 3 to deal with North College Park. And so Ben, as chair of the Appropriations Committee, and me over in the Senate as well, have made, and I'm on the Transportation Budget Subcommittee, have made very clear, and obviously the Speaker has in her role, that if you want a transportation budget for the state, it's got to run through Route 1 in College Park.
Yes, sir. That's right. Yes, sir.
And so they're committed to it. And in fact, I got a call the other day from State Highway. They're at the stage where they want to organize with us and with the city a public meeting to lay out some of their early ideas. And so we don't have a date on that yet, but that'll be in the next couple of months. So that's in the works.
Fantastic. I want y'all to know that that was not coordinated. That was just me asking the question, and I really needed the answer. So thank you. The only other thing is we have a youth service bureau here in the city of College Park that we're so outstandingly proud of. I know most, if all of you are familiar with it, but for those residents who don't know, this particular facility has an incredible capacity for serving our bilingual Spanish-speaking community. A lot of the medical professionals are trained for Spanish. Now, they service residents from all over. So what some of the other youth service bureaus have begun to do is transition some of the cases that they have that require Spanish-speaking proficiency to the youth service bureau in College Park. I'm wondering if in future discussions you can keep in mind how we continue to receive funding from the state and the county, because I know that there has been some history there that precedes me, to help address some of those funding shortfalls.
I want to respond first by just saying we have all visited that center. It's incredibly impressive. We talked to the staff, their lobbyist, Ann Seacott, who we all know from Annapolis, and it is a wonderful program, and I'm aware of their Spanish language capabilities. And I think I would just say, and Jim, you should chime in as Vice Chair of Budget and Tax, but with Ben as Chair of Appropriations, I would be prepared, and I know the team would, to make that argument that formula should be looked at, and the services should follow the child or the family. And if College Park should be getting a little more money because they are disproportionately serving Spanish language speaking children and families, then that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, that would be my response.
We put $10.6 million for the Youth Service Bureau with the Department of Juvenile Services for funding already, and we're very supportive of it. But we can look at what you said, especially given the numbers. But we did. For FY 2027.
I think the funding continues to come, and we really greatly appreciate it. Please count on us for absolutely anything that you may need, whether that's our residents to show up to something, or letters of support, or even us to knock on doors with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I believe.
Let me just say, when I checked the budget, the draft budget, I made sure that the same funding was in for the College Park Youth Service Bureaus as is supposed to be in. Yeah.
Thank you.
If I can add one point to this, and you all may have explored this, but I encourage you to if you haven't. In the blueprint for Maryland's future, which is our big education funding thing, there is a whole bunch of money for what Jocelyn was talking about, wraparound services for schools with lots of low-income kids. And so if the city has not looked into seeing how to access that money that goes through the schools, like for Hollywood, it should. What I would do is see if they're using it and see if there may be money there that you can get as well.
Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
If I may expand on that a little bit, they are just now, I believe, taking applications for some grant, if I'm not mistaken, and you should contact, it is the Executive Director, Mark Luckner. And I can give you, he's the Executive Director of the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission. If you go online, look for the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission, look at the grants, and they should apply, because last year I presented a check for 20-something million to the schools, and they're about to do that again. So look at what the schedule is and try to help them put together a grant application, because they have millions of dollars under the blueprint that they're given every year.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
I have a question related to that.
Sasha, could you please just wait for
For
a
the
minute?
community schools discussion?
Yeah, I'm coming to you.
It's just related to this. I just wanted to ask.
Yes. We'll come back to you. Because someone has been waiting for a while. Will Doyle, can you please allow him?
Try it again.
Thank you, Sasha. We'll allow you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Not yet. So sorry.
Let's see if we try to be really quiet. Let's see, can you talk and see if we can figure it out?
Yeah, I don't know. My audio is saying it's on. And
It's better. Go ahead. Speak a little louder and go ahead.
okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah. My name is Will Doyle. I'm a social worker here in College Park. Thank you for the event and the opportunity to attend and ask questions online. It's really important for access. I was unable to come in person. It was interesting to hear the discussion about the value of listening and respecting, because I've been somebody who's been involved in advocating for legislation and reform with social work licensing since 2022, and both in and out of session involved in efforts in the past few years. And so in my experience, particularly this last session, communicating with my District 21 representatives, particularly as bills got changed to where they were harmful and no longer good legislation, that not even hearing back, which makes it feel like I'm not being heard, and if I'm hearing back, not hearing anything of substance to kind of address the concerns or explain why you're taking the positions you were, and that was basically watching as what I was saying is ignored, and repeatedly voting for a bill that again had major concerns. And I guess more broadly, that's been my experience, that in 3 years, a Senate Finance Chair never met with advocates, that the House Health Subcommittee was having a separate meeting and included parties but did not invite advocates. And so, having experience where it feels like there's not a willingness to listen and respect, and that, that's been my experience. So I'm wondering how you reconcile the values you profess with the experience I've had. And I don't believe listening and respect is evidenced by agreeing with what I say, but if I'm, if I or any constituent is bringing data, basing things in Maryland's own workforce study and in their own work group, so it's substantial information and there's not a substantial response, it does not feel like I'm being heard or represented, or that my voice actually even matters.
And I'm sorry you feel that way, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. If you have been following the bill, when I was shared the committee last year, tell me how I passed that bill from the House.
How you passed the...
Yeah, in what form did the bill pass the House last year?
Well, it passed in a way that was still requiring the passing of an exam to ensure that...
The bill passed the way it was introduced, the whole enchilada. I passed the bill straight up clean. Okay? I passed it clean. Tell me what happened when it got to the Senate.
I don't...
The Senate killed it. The chair of the committee killed it. And you know what happened? Senator Washington, who was the sponsor of the bill, and for those of you that are listening, what happens is that there's really strong data that exam, especially people of color, have a difficult time passing that exam. more than 17 states have put in bills that would require basically for those jurisdictions to get rid of the exam, right? And have other ways to do the grading and qualification. In Maryland, we created a work group that met for more than a year. The work group had recommendations. We passed a bill, with the recommendations and the whole enchilada. When it got to the Senate Finance Committee chair killed it, and she brought it to the Senate floor in a way that was just another work group that was really unacceptable to us in the House. And she got into it with the Senate sponsor, Senator Washington, and she got so mad at Senator Washington on the floor that she moved to recommit the bill from the Senate floor. Remember that, Jim?
Now I remember it.
Okay. So then the bill came to us, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to send the bill exactly the way it came in back to the Senate. And I did. And the Senate chair decided to say, no, I'm going to kill it and not pass it. This year, she felt very strongly that she wasn't going to pass the bill. So basically, there was a compromise. I know not everyone agreed with it, that what they're going to do is, effective November 2026, the State Board of Social Work Examiners is required to issue a provisional license to qualify applicants who have met the educational experience and requirement and haven't passed the test. But it's provisional, and they would eventually have to pass it. I wanted to get rid of the exam, and I am on record, and also I passed the bill that way. But it takes 2 houses, and I can only control my house. And I cannot control what happens on the floor, and if people get into it and take it personally. So this bill has a lot of history, and unfortunately, I'm too aware of it, because I was trying my best to help the advocates with it, because I get it. But unfortunately, it takes 2 houses.
That's not at all what I asked. I was asking about the current session in which the bill, with the provisional license and the requirement, we believe is harmful and is bad legislation. I understand what's happened in the past, and so.
But the committee felt that yeah, just not getting responses from you or my other District 21 representatives to understand why you were supporting passing it as is in this session. And you know why? And we responded, but you didn't like what you got, the response, so we just have to agree to disagree respectfully, especially given the history and given the fact that I am on record passing the bill. I think that what is the problem here.
We're not willing to respond to that specific information.
Okay. Look, we're going to agree to disagree, because some people on the committee felt that it was best to allow people to have a provisional license. They have no license.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Well, thank you. We can certainly facilitate the communication again, and you and I are good friends, so we can certainly get more information and connect that with Madam Speaker. Thank you for coming and speaking. Sasha, please. Thank you for your patience.
Mr. Mayor, it was kind of disrespectful when you didn't allow me to comment on the previous topic, because I was trying to offer help to the city as a constituent, as a community member.
Can I respond, please? Because this resident, Mr. Doyle, who just spoke, he wrote to me personally. He attended another event, waited for a long time, but he could not speak, and he was frustrated. He wrote to me he must be allowed, and I that's the reason I allowed him.
Right, but that disrupts the flow, and I was gonna offer help to the city of College Park and ask who should we,
you have the floor now.
Right, who is the contact person, but now I have to go back to the issue and re-explain the issue. Who is the contact person at the city of College Park? Because we have a community schools budget coming from the blueprint. We have a community schools steering committee. I'm a part of the steering committee from the PTA, and school steering committee, the community schools always is looking for community partners to include in this decision making, because it's over $400,000 in per pupil allocation towards wraparound services in our community. Back to Jacob's question, but it was a very, like, now my comment is much longer. I'm respectful to everyone's time and everything, but it's like, if you don't allow people to chime in on the issues that are being discussed, that is
We can still
really
respond to it.
Can I just say something? It's interesting, and I'm being really respectful. What he was trying to do was that the gentleman was waiting for a very long time. And I know as a chair, I do that too, where I have to tell you, just wait, because you're here. And even if it means that it's going to take a longer time, we're here, we'll do it. But the gentleman had been waiting, and he already allowed others to go. And it's tough when you're in these positions and you're trying to give respect and manage and balance. So it wasn't meant that way. And I know, because I find myself on the floor doing the same thing. So please don't take it that way.
I'm hurting a little bit also because we had an offline discussion about separate issues where literally 5 different people attacked me with 35 comments on the issue that we disagreed. So I kind of feel like a little bit, when I'm trying to, provide help.
But that was separate from this. I understand.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No,
You're welcome.
There is no disrespect. We value your comments. Thank you.
Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, we are not going to agree on everything. We're so different. We come from different backgrounds, different experiences. But I think what matters is, the respect. And I think that when you think about the legislative process, you introduce a bill a certain way, you're not going to, most of the time it doesn't pass that way. Because what happens is that you introduce it, and there's 20 other people that come from all over to say how it affects them and how you need to change this clause, that clause. And then by the time you satisfy that group, there's another group that comes that you have to satisfy. So then by the time you satisfy that group and you're almost ready to vote, oops, someone else comes that you have to satisfy. So the bill ends up being very different, right? And we're not all going to be satisfied. And that is just the way it works, all right? But the question is, did the bill have a process? Did you get to come and speak during the hearing? Was there consideration given, right? And at the end of the day, we may not be happy with it, but did you get that process, right? And that's what matters.
Thank you so much. We only have 4 minutes, but Senator wants to speak something. Briefly, I'm sorry. Finally.
Okay, I'm all that stands between you and going home, but Jocelyn mentioned to me that there were several things we did specifically for College Park this year that we hadn't really covered. So I want to mention, this is not all of them, I want to mention a couple. Jacob raised the Route 1 issue. We covered the Route 1 issue, which is very big. Second thing is, for the last several years, we've been putting $5 million in the budget to help provide more affordable housing for graduate students from the University of Maryland. And so in a tough budget year, we were able to keep $5 million for the coming year. It's a 10-year plan, and we're now in year 6. Some of you have, well, all of us have seen the building of the new graduate student Discovery House that's going to open this fall. Well, that's one of the projects that the state helped fund in that effort. The next efforts are going to be focused on smaller buildings, including potentially acquiring and converting some group homes, including some small apartment buildings. And so we did that to keep that moving. And this is my baby, as Jocelyn would say. Hard as it is to believe, the Purple Line is going to be running by January 2028 is what they say. And I think from the details that I've gotten into with them, I'm pretty confident. Now, there's a lot of confusion in the world, so things can get screwed up. But one of the things that we got in the budget this year was a commitment of $500,000 for the State Transportation Administration to do matching grants to municipalities, to counties, to nonprofits, to for-profits in the 3 months before the Purple Line launches and the 3 months after the Purple Line launches to promote it. Because people aren't going to know about it if nobody knows about it. But the idea is so that the city comes up with, Friday Night Live is a perfect example of that. Friday Night Live. You guys, for those 3 months, you should be promoting Friday Night Live to everybody who is connected by mass transit, come to Friday Night Live. And the Clarice Smith Center has all kinds of things, and you go down the list. So that's in this coming year budget, so people can start planning. So I'd encourage the city to start planning on that. We also, and Johnson mentioned this, and I think this is important, and you probably guys are probably plugged into this, but this quantum thing is a big deal. It's it's hard to believe how big a deal it is. I mean, people now think of AI as being a big deal that they didn't think of AI 3 years ago. But it's very possible that 5 years from now, the ordinary person is going to get quantum. The ordinary person doesn't get quantum right now. But the state has made a very substantial commitment in all kinds of ways with the university to make College Park the quantum capital of the country. And so I think, and so there are all kinds of opportunities. And so we're going to keep investing money in it, but I'd encourage you to pay attention to it and get involved. And the last thing I'm going to say, this comes back to the schools, and this is very much because Jocelyn is Speaker and Ben is Chair of Appropriations, is we've been trying to get facilities money for years to try to help improve the finances of the charter schools, like College Park Academy, which is obviously College Park, the city of College Park, and the university were the creators of College Park Academy. And we'd passed legislation, Jocelyn talks about, we did it in the House, but the Senate didn't go along. Well, this was a couple of years, we passed it in the Senate, and the House didn't go along until Jocelyn became Speaker. And so this year, we passed the first step of facilities funding for charter schools, which will be a very direct help to College Park. That was a list. Just want to mention all those things. There's more, but I don't know any more time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is right on the hour, 8 o'clock. So I hope everyone enjoyed it, and thank you all again for coming, and thank you, our 21st delegation, especially our Madam Speaker, for coming, and we are so honored to have you. Thank you all.
For the honor.
Thank you.